Jenna LaMere reading Elyse Myers's book. That's a great question. I'd love to tell you. I am on now the chapter entitled Maybe I Will. In case you're seeing this for the first time, I am just reading aloud with my own reactions and commentary along the way as I body double because this is how I read books best. And I don't really expect anyone to see it, but if you have followed along this long, you can make a comment in the little schmoo tube and let me know you're here. And if you have any stories along the way you want to share about either what she says, how I read it, or what I said that is similar. And are you getting some cool synchronicities yourself? Okay, maybe I will. My eyes are tired and I'm struggling to see everything as clearly as I should. As I get out of my car, I can see the shape of Jonas walking toward me. I rub my eyes to get a better look at him. I've been dreaming about seeing him in person for weeks, and I don't want to miss a single second of him now that he's actually in front of me. I've been driving since sunrise, and now it's nearly set, but even exhaustion can't slow the excitement that's flooding my body as I remember what it is like to be near Jonas and feel his warmth as he pulls me into one of his hugs. I shut my car door and start walking toward him, jumping up and down to show how happy I am to see him. Well, see a shadow of him that soon won't be a shadow anymore. There's nearly a football field's worth of distance between the lot where I parked and the front door he's just left. I have no idea who all these cars belong to. Why are there so many cars between us, and where did all these people come from? When he gets a little closer, I begin waving to get his attention. The visual static that I can't rub out of my eyes is making it look as though he's staring right past me as I wave. Maybe I should have taken a few more breaks while driving up here. I can hardly see anything at this point. Only a few cars worth of distance are between us now, and I can't wait for a hug any longer. I begin running toward him, stopping right before my body collides into his. Hello, kind stranger, I say, way louder than I mean to. My greeting echoes through the parking lot, and I hear the excitement in my voice 4 or 5 times before it rings out into nothing. Jonas still hasn't made eye contact with me. He doesn't notice me at all, actually. He looks straight through me as he sidesteps a few feet, then continues walking forward as if I'm just a weird stain on the concrete. I force myself to laugh at the joke he's obviously making. It feels a little too cruel to be a joke given the circumstances. I chase after him. Jonas, hey! I call out through another forced laugh. You're taking the stranger thing a little too seriously. I finally catch up to him and put my hand on his forearm. He turns around, and this time he's looking right at me. His eye contact is fierce, and he doesn't look happy to see me. Are you okay? Did something happen? You don't look like yourself. You look really pale, actually. I rub my eyes and try squinting to see if that might alleviate the static that's blocking my view of the most beautiful man in the world. It helps, but barely. Sorry, do I know you? What the hell? Why is he being so weird? I just drove from another state to see him, and he's acting like he has no clue who I am. Jonas, I know you're trying to be funny, but I'm actually really tired and a little bit sensitive right now. I just sat for like 12 hours in a car with a fabric top half that somehow doesn't latch all the way to the bottom half. So I've basically been listening to high-pitched whistles since I left Texas this morning at 5 before the sun was up. Can you at least give me a hug? How do you know my name? My God, this dude really knows how to commit to a bit, doesn't he? You're breaking my heart a little. Can you please drop the joke for a second? I drove all the way to see you. If I didn't know any better, I'd say the face he's staring back at me right now. Wait, if I didn't know any better, I'd say the face that's staring back at me right now really has no idea who I am. Holy shit, did you hit your head? Jonas, I'm like actually worried. This isn't funny. Stop using my name like you know who I am. I've never met you before. He pulls his arm free and continues walking away. I run to catch up to him one more time. I stop directly in front of him. Jonas, do you really not remember me? Elyse, your girlfriend? The other person in the photo on your home screen? You know, the girl in the picture who's pressing her mouth onto yours? I hold my phone up and start scrolling through photos of the last time we were together, which was also the first time that we were together. I swipe through picture after picture of us, wasting time in a coffee shop, buying sodas on Mass Street, eating tacos on a park bench, sitting on his front porch drinking whiskey and watching the sunset. Nothing. His face looks just as empty and his stare looks just as hollow. I'm so confused. You said you loved me. I'm dangerously close to begging him to love me back, begging him to love me the way that he loved this morning when I called to tell him that I was on my way to Omaha. I began to cry. I'm so tired that the tears sting as they make their way past my eyelids and fall down my face. It feels like someone took an eyedropper and placed water from the ocean directly into my eyeballs. I'm in so much pain everywhere that I can't decide what hurts most. The pain in my eyes or the ache in my chest that's serving as a silent, I told you so. I knew it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. He was just too good to be true. Everything was too good to be true. I don't even know you. I can't even love someone I don't know. Dee-nee-nee-nee, 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 thwack. Through barely open eyes, I look at my alarm clock. It reads 4:32 a.m. I'm usually a morning person, but the recent uptick of these recurring nightmares makes me feel a lot less excited to jump out of bed before the sun rises and convince myself it's going to be a great day. Nothing feels great when your brain consistently waits until you're deep asleep to remind you of everything you've ever been insecure about, and then maybe even things you never thought to be insecure about. But now you have a few extra things just in case. You know, if the normal insecurities aren't doing the trick anymore. I change out of my pajamas and double check the bag I packed before going to sleep last night. I have a tendency to pack clothes I've never worn just in case I have a personality transplant when I get to wherever I'm going. I usually end up saying, "You just never know," to myself as I'm rolling up a red sundress and throwing in high heels that I don't even like. I've done that too so many times. I pull everything out of my suitcase and I have 0% chance of actually wearing. After I turn on the coffee pot, I throw my backpack into the back seat of my car and load the front seat with snacks. I go back inside and lay my face on the kitchen counter as the carafe slowly fills with coffee. I've always enjoyed road trips, but I've never been quite as excited to get to my final destination as I am this morning. This is going to be a long 12 hours. I wonder what the sun says. And I love this because it's like a rear view mirror, which is like no looking back. She's tired and it's like, I wonder, and it's just like, boo. And I kind of felt like that was probably going to be a dream. I was like, two things are one. Like one, does he have an identical brother that we just haven't heard about yet in the book? Because that's weird. But also, if he has an identical twin that he's close enough with to have that kind of a relationship with her, you'd think that the brother would at least know that that kind of thing could have happened and would have known who Elyse is. So like, as soon as that all was going on in my head, I was like, all right, it's probably not going to be that. It's going to be more of the Bobby in the shower Dallas dream situation. And I'm way too old for anyone that's probably reading this or hearing me to understand what that just meant. Anyway, all right. Oh, it's still the same chapter, so here we go. Water check. Will it be the book or will it be the water that ends first? We've got that much to go. So I think it's going to happen today. We're going to finish the book. I wonder what the sun says to the, oh, interesting. Okay, so this has got a little split down the middle, and so I didn't know if I was reading all the way across or if I'm reading vroom, 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 but I guess I'm reading vroom, vroom, vroom. All right, here we go. I wonder what the sun says to the moon when it takes its place in the sky, or if the moon ever wishes it could trade places with the sun to be awake during the day. Even just once. I wonder if the moon has ever said to the stars, I liked this at the beginning, but I don't like it as much anymore. The stars always shine brighter for the moon, which is something the moon has decided to love very much. But when the stars say to the moon, the day is only the day when the sun is out, does the moon wish it made light or made its own light, just like the sun? Does the moon think even a quarter of the sun's light would be more than enough light for me? I wonder what the trees would say to the birds if they could talk, because the birds talk at the seemingly silent trees all day. Do they understand that the trees aren't able to talk back? Do the birds feel ignored, or do they chirp at the trees? Do you think that you're better than us? The unsilent trees reply, I wonder if the road ever gets too warm and asks the sky to relay messages to the sun. Messages like, can you find somewhere else to shine today? I'm burning under your watch. Would the sun move behind the clouds and ask the rain to give more of itself than it had planned to give, simply for the sake of the road? I wonder if the sky enjoys being home to everything. Does everything get tired of being so vast that it almost doesn't exist at all? It never stops existing. How tired and lonely must the sky be? I wonder if the sky feels proud to be the keeper of all things. The moon that wishes it were the sun that gives light to the moon that the moon can't see, the stars that glow just the same for the sun, the seemingly silent trees that aren't not silent at all, but talk to the birds in a language they don't understand, the birds that have made themselves at home in the trees, the road that lives under the sky, who keeps all things. I wonder if my car is hurting the road. Oh my God. See, and that's, it's 555. And earlier, I was worried about slamming this book down accidentally. And I have to say, earlier in the book, when she threw her phone across the floor, I was a little bit worried for her phone. And now she's talking about her phone. When my phone's map tells me I'm only 20 minutes from Jonas's apartment, I find one last gas station to stop at. I pull out my backpack and find the outfit I planned on wearing the very first time Jonas saw me after officially becoming his girlfriend. Objectively, the outfit I chose to change into looks almost identical to the one I wore the first 11 hours and 40 minutes of the drive. The only major difference is the knit hoodie I pull over my head to complete my look. It's a deep maroon, and its previous owner is the very person I'm driving to see. Jonas let me borrow it, so I'd have something of his while we were apart, and the thought of him seeing me in it makes my stomach do a million different things. Part of me wants to wear his hoodie because it makes me feel safe. Most of me picked Jonas's sweater because my anxiety has convinced me that the nightmare I can't stop having is actually a premonition. The logical part of my brain understands that these nightmares are about as cliche as it gets when it comes to anxious thoughts. But these dreams are happening for a reason, and whether they're a premonition, they aren't, or my brain's attempt at working out very real insecurities, this is the obvious answer, it doesn't make them feel any less real. My daytime brain spends all day looking for proof that Jonas will leave. My nighttime brain proves exactly that every single night. I get into my car and resume my drive. I know that moment I see Jonas, every insecurity my nightmare represents will dissolve into nothingness. They'll melt alongside everything else in my body when I see Jonas walking toward me, his real life, fully human, non-digital body. And he isn't even inside a phone screen. I'd assume a 12-hour road trip would be plenty of time to prepare myself to stand in front of my brand new boyfriend, but as the map's ETA and the current time on my car's dash start getting closer and closer to each other, I feel myself panicking for no real reason. You're not anxious, you're excited, your brain just can't tell the difference. I repeat this to myself as loud as I can without triggering the same genre of secondhand embarrassment I feel whenever I've slipped getting out of the shower and fallen onto the floor naked. No one is there to witness it, but the part of me that feels like I'm in the Truman Show likes to remind me that nothing is impossible. See, like right now, me talking to you is probably like me feeling like I'm on the Truman Show. I'm always just assuming there are people around looking at me and like guides or whatever. And I like performing my life, I guess, or sharing as authentically as I can. I never know if it's really, who knows what's really authentic. If you do, then you're lucky. The sun is setting, and I hadn't considered how dark the middle of nowhere gets once the sun goes down. I'm only a mile and a half from his apartment when the service on my phone starts to become unreliable. My map isn't exactly sure where we are, and I am very unfamiliar with the surface my tires are driving over right now. I stop driving, turn on my high beams, and try to see what exactly is lining the road underneath my tires. Should I have gotten out of the car? No. Did I? I don't really feel like saying, but yes, I did. And it turns out I've never driven on gravel before. I had no idea cars could even drive over gravel because I have never lived in a place where the streets are anything but streets. The kind of streets that every single street should be. Asphalt and other street things that don't feel like anything at all when you drive over them. Definitely not like tiny little rocks that might not, but probably will puncture holes in every single one of your tires before you even get the chance to see and hug and kiss your boyfriend in person for the first time. And when I say first time, I obviously mean the first time as your boyfriend, not the first time ever, because you already saw and hugged and kissed a boy from Kansas, and you liked it so much that he's now your boyfriend. I get back into the car I may or may not have gotten out of and do the one thing that will not help me at all in this situation. And then she has a sentence that is crossed out that says, I start to cry. It's fine. It was fine, except I didn't feel fine for a second. And then the uncrossed out normal stuff says, I pull myself together and back off the gravel as slowly as any car has ever driven in the history of cars. Then I pull back onto the main street, which is very gravel-less and a fraction more lit than the street I'm being very generous with that term I was driving on. I am aware that I'm driving in the opposite direction that I should be driving, but I'm trying to find an area that my cell phone likes just enough to reconnect to a cell tower and save me from driving aimlessly in this vacuum of light that apparently happens when you get far enough away from major cities. My phone finds just enough service to reload my map, and while I'm at it, I try to find an alternate route that doesn't include driving on surfaces that will pop all four of my tires. I take screenshots of the map and the directions and study both for a few moments so I can get a better sense of where I'm going. And then there's text. Elyse. Took a slight detour. Be there in 5 minutes. Jonas. Yay, can't wait to see you. You're not anxious. You're excited. Your brain just can't tell the difference. High beams on. I pull back onto the road and follow the alternate route to Jonas's apartment. There are exactly 0 cars in sight. I am now stopped in front of the road I meant to turn right onto, and there's gravel on this one too. You have got to be kidding me. I'm so overwhelmed. Wait a minute. Had she not been there before? Was she just in an Uber? Like when she, because she stayed there, so she has been there. So is the gravel on the road to the parents' house, or has just there been so much time passed? I don't know what's happening here, but why is this news to you, Elyse? I don't know, but sometimes I don't pay attention to things until I pay attention to very different things when I'm driving versus being a passenger. But I think I would remember like gravel. Anyway, okay. I'm so overwhelmed by this devastating news that I don't even consider the possibility that cars equipped to drive over surfaces much more atypical than gravel. My body starts panicking very hard and very fast and very aggressively, and I can feel my brain trying to tell my body the situation is not worth this level of panic. Excuse me. Well, my brain should probably speak up because all I'm feeling is a bunch of judgment from the neck up and a shitstorm of panic from the neck down. But I keep driving forward because Jonas is forward. When I finally turn onto the road, my tires slip and I struggle to gain the traction I need to feel comfortable continuing forward. When I pull my phone out to call Jonas and tell him what's happening, I have no service. It's only a matter of time before I die out here alone in the total darkness. Oh, never mind. I see a car driving toward me on the other side of the road. The driver looks like they're handling it just fine and not at all on the verge of tears. I guess the tiny gravel isn't a threat to my tires after all. This is very good news. I drive no faster than 5 miles per hour, the entire 3/4 of a mile that this road lasts until it leads me into a very paved parking lot with only a few cars parked in it. One of them being Jonas's navy blue HHR. You're not anxious, you're excited. Your brain just can't tell the difference. I pull into the parking lot, and before I've even shut my engine off, I can see Jonas walking through the glass doors of his building. I haven't seen him in person since I visited him on his family's farm in Kansas, which was 2 months ago. When he'd dropped me off at the airport, we were friends who'd kissed each other a few times and had a rough idea of what the future could look like. Maybe, possibly. If I'm able to suspend my belief just long enough to avoid torpedoing this whole thing because I'm terrified of being abandoned, but that's fine. But seeing Jonas walk toward me now, I realize how much has changed since then. We've opened up to each other in ways I didn't think I was capable of opening up to someone. We've talked every night, all night, way too late into the night, and sometimes until it was no longer night at all. We've shared the best and the worst of ourselves and every mundane thing in between. The Jonas who's walking straight toward me across the world's longest lawn is a completely different person from the boy from Kansas I'd spent 5 days with because he asked me to. I yell over to him as I climb out of my car. Were you just watching from my car through the window? I laugh because I don't know how to process the flood of positive emotions that come with the mental image of Jonas sitting at his bedroom window waiting for me to get there. If I said yes, would you think I'm pathetic? There's still so much lawn to be crossed before he's standing in front of me. 2 thoughts run through my mind. 1, I'm not sure why I decided to park so far away from the front door when this parking lot is virtually empty. And 2, this would now be a good time to start walking toward Jonas instead of standing next to my car, frozen in place like an idiot. I try to move, but my body is too full of adrenaline. I can't do much of anything right now. Move, breathe, think. It all feels off the table right now. Apparently, when my body is presented with the options to either fight, flight, or freeze, its preference is to freeze. I am frozen, an ice sculpture that looks a lot like Elyse. You're not anxious, you're excited. Your brain just can't tell the difference. Jonas has now made it past the world's longest lawn and steps off the curb into the parking lot. When he walks under a street lamp, he transforms from an outline of a person into the most beautiful human being my eyes have ever seen. I swear I can hear my heart beating in my ears as he gets closer. Could you have parked any farther away? He's so close that I can hear the laugh that came with this question. You're not anxious, you're excited. Your brain just doesn't know the difference. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna flight. I'm all flight. I'm no longer freeze. I am flighting so fast and so unexpectedly in the opposite direction of Jonas that I don't have time to consider where I'm going or why I'm flighting in the first place. I just drove 12 hours to see my favorite person in the world, but as soon as he became a real person standing in front of me, my first instinct is to run away. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm sorry, I shout without looking back at Jonas. I'm still running away. I feel my brain wanting so badly to disassociate from the events taking place, and I'm doing everything in my power to keep myself here mentally and physically here, because something tells me that if I give my legs permission, they would run the rest of me all the way back to Irving, Texas. I finally reach the end of the pavement and stop running. I look out into near nothingness and feel my foot stepping onto the grass where the parking lot ends and the field and nothingness begins. There's mice in that grass. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I turn around and see Jonas a few paces behind me. My God, he really is the most beautiful man I've ever met. The adrenaline is wearing off and I can finally make sense of all the small details of his face and hair, well, everything else that makes Jonas Jonas. I'm not running away from you. I'm actually really excited to see you. My brain is giving me an instant replay of what I just did from about 10 different camera angles. I'm watching it again in slow motion when Jonas bends down, hooks his right arm around the backs of my thighs, and effortlessly pulls my entire body onto his right shoulder. He begins carrying me back to my car. What are you doing? I try to make my voice sound angry, but my enjoyment betrays me by cutting my sentence in half with a giggle that sounds like it belongs to someone a quarter my age. I'm making sure you don't run into the middle of a dark field. Were you serious about the mice? I say while staring at the back pockets of his jeans and absolutely nothing else that might be near or underneath them. Definitely not his butt. Yes and no. They aren't really something you have to worry about until it gets a little colder. Then you'll find them looking for warm cars to hide in. It's not cold enough for that yet. The pressure of Jonas's arms wrapped around my legs and the middle of my back while he carries me shuts my mind off in a way that only he can. When he touches me, it feels like I'm borrowing his nervous system for a minute. Oh my God, that's how it feels with Patrick. Cannot tell you how more calm I feel just if I hold his arm or just I'm around him. It's just like, oh my God, he's like a obsidian. So grounding. Where was I? The pressure of Jonas's arms wrapped around my legs and the middle of my back while he carries me shuts my mind off in a way that only he can. When he touches me, it feels like I'm borrowing his nervous system for a minute, giving mine a much-needed break. As effortlessly as he picked me up and carried me, he sets me down in front of the glass doors of his apartment complex. Did you just do that so I would look at your butt? I feel my face heat with embarrassment at the mention of Jonas's butt, which makes me feel about 7 years old. I did that because you spent 12 hours in the car just to see me, and I'm not going to stand here and watch you try and run away. Fair enough. So it's not even a little bit about your butt? Elyse, are you okay? Why did you run like that? If I try to explain it, it wouldn't make any sense. I feel like it might make more sense than you sprinting away from me. Are you scared of me? No, God, no, not even close. Oh my God, I just panicked. You're so beautiful and you smell so nice and that white sweater's insane. Like you look actually like you could be a model. His face warms with a hint of a smile. The confusion in his expression melts into softness that tells me he's relieved I still feel safe with him. I panicked and ran away because I think I'm scared you're going to figure out you don't actually like me as much as you think you do. And also, I'm really nervous to kiss you for the first time. I could stand here for a few hours and give Jonas a college-level dissertation on all the reasons I ran away, but I stopped myself from saying more. More would be way too much. More would scare him away. About the first thing you said, Jonas tugs the strings of his maroon hoodie that I'm wearing and pulls me a tiny bit closer than I was before. That's never going to happen, he says. It so certainly that I have no choice but to believe him. He still hasn't let go of the strings on his scratched out my hoodie. He continues, I don't think you fully understand how much I like you and how long I've liked you. I am in love with you. The day I met you in Kohl's, do you know what Josh said to me when you and Evan walked away? Did he make fun of me? Josh said, geez, why don't you marry her already? I told him, maybe I will. I got home and sent you a friend request on Facebook and saw that you were in a relationship, so I let it go. But the entire walk home from the grocery store, I thought about what it would be like to be married to someone like you. After one conversation with you, oh my God, this is so sweet. The more I get to know you, the more I fall in love with you. I'm so beyond the point of figuring out how I feel about you. I know how I feel about you. I love you. I'm trying to keep my expression neutral as I will, the tears trying to escape from my eyeballs back into my body. Hearing you say you love me in real life is so different than over FaceTime. Everything that's happened between us has felt completely upside down and backward. The typical milestones that come with being in a relationship have happened so out of order for us that sometimes it feels silly to even try to make sense of what's happening anymore. I've lived my life with a specific kind of rigidity that causes my mind to have a difficult time wrapping itself around what's happening between me and Jonas. Nothing makes sense. Our first phone call lasted 6 hours and happened when we were 7,000 miles apart. We told each other we loved each other before our first date. And then our first date lasted 5 days, the first of which I met his entire family and slept in his childhood home. I gotta pause for a second because... So I've been married twice before being with Patrick, and actually I was engaged once too. But my second husband, we met online and had such a strong synchronistic, wild, fast relationship of like lots of moving and lots of weird milestones and people probably looking at us crazy and stuff too. So I so understand what she's feeling. Three months ago, I'd said to Jonas, "Goodbye forever, I'll never see you again." It was the last day of school, and I was trying to squeeze past him to get to my friends. And now I'm standing in front of him as his girlfriend of, I don't know, 14 seconds. And he's telling me that the very first time we talked, he thought about marrying me. She doesn't put a question mark there. I don't know why I did. He thought about marrying me. I love this man so much. I'm completely sure of that. It's just everything else that feels impossible to understand. Because it's not supposed to be this easy, is it? From what I know about love, it crushes you, whether it's the weight of settling or the weight of begging to be loved by someone who promises you the world and then disappears, or the weight of needing to be someone else's everything all of the time. It crushes me all the same. Nothing about being loved by Jonas feels remotely close to being crushed. In fact, it might be the safest feeling I've ever felt. I'm not going anywhere, Elyse. I'm just going to keep running after you until you tell me not to. I conveniently forgot how this conversation started with me running away. He tugs at the strings of my hoodie and brings me even closer to him. And about the second thing, he says directly into my mouth, just loud enough to not be considered a whisper. Did you see a light? I don't know, something caught my eye light-wise. Oh, I got a text. Hold on. Came up on my thing. Oh, it's Patrick. I get my love stuff here. So, he said loading in before, went the long way, and apparently everyone out here is on lewds. And then he is showing me the stage that he's playing at tonight. There he is. And now I'm going to tell him to break a leg, even though I think that's a weird thing to say. Break a leg. Maybe I should just, I'm going to have a good show. Have a fun show. I am almost done reading the book. Exclamation point. I love you so much. Let's find a good emoji. All right. Oh, I'm going to use, I was going to do a heart, but I just realized the other day we've been having some plumbing stuff and there's a plunger. So I'm going to put the plunger there instead because that's just the kind of relationship we have. Let's see what he says here in a second. Okay. All right, where are we? He tugs at the strings of my hoodie and brings me even closer to him. About the second thing, he says directly into my mouth, just as loud, just loud enough to not be considered a whisper. I don't know how to break this to you, but we've already kissed. It's not the same thing. You're my boyfriend now. It's totally different. His mouth is close to mine, but it's clear Jonas is waiting for me to remove the fraction of distance that remains between our lips. I know we're supposed to kiss. I mean, his face is right there. Oh my God, he's right there. I wrap my arms around him and throw my face into his chest. I borrow his quiet and calm energy and take a deep inhale of his cologne just because I can, because he's not a picture or a video or a text in my phone. He really is right there. And he didn't even forget about me. When I'm hiding inside his arms, which are wrapped all the way around me, I remember our almost first kiss in his basement. Can I kiss you? You promised me you wouldn't. I don't know how long we stayed locked into our hug, but it's long enough to make my face sweat from my own breath as I exhale into Jonas's soft sweater. As if Jonas can read my mind, he asks quietly into the top of my head, can I kiss you? I know if I open my mouth and try to speak, I will ruin this moment, and I really don't want to ruin this moment. I decide silence is the best option. I lift my chin up to meet his eyeline, and I keep my arms wrapped tightly around him. After waiting 12 hours and 2 months, and also my entire life. Jonas kisses me for the very first time as my boyfriend. He doesn't know it, but for the second time, he is kissing me as the person I know I want to spend the rest of my life with. Maybe I will. Oh, so good. Goosebumps. All right, so let's get to the next one. I'm going to end this one and start up in a second. We've got this much of the book left is all, and this much water, which is going to come first. Reminder to drink your water and take a nice breath together. And exhale. See you on the next one.